once again, great privilege and pleasure to be here with you all this evening and to talk about how AI is transforming the online customer experience. So yeah, a little bit about me as well. So yeah, I'm Gabriel, pleased to meet you all. My PhD is in economics. I've been around. I worked at Google for 6 years and developed the attribution functionality for Google Analytics. I have the patent on that. So I know lots about marketing attribution. I was VP at Elsevier, the largest science publisher, and worked on a number of big data projects there. And then in a fit of madness around a year ago, I quit my job to create a startup which is based up in Dalston. Oh dear. And here I am. We're Metageni. We design algorithms and we apply them to customer journey analysis for smarter decision making. So we're all about, when I say design algorithms, we're talking about machine learning algorithms that we create. We're interested in white box algorithms. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as we go. But what I thought I'd do, because I'm really just ahead of the main part of today, which is this panel discussion, is just provide some more background to this broader subject of AI and the online customer experience. So we did a bit of research. I'm going to present what other people have been saying about this and what I see as the landscape, as well as providing, as I say, a bit of a case study on some of the work that we do. So the first question then, and I'm going to frame this as a series of questions. So the first question is, what is the potential value of AI to enhancing the customer experience? Why are we all here tonight and not out on the streets drinking beer like everybody else in London just before the holiday weekend? There must be something in it, right? Well, free beer here, yes. Thank you, John. We're all cheapskates is the answer to the question. The potential is huge. I mean, by any measure, the potential is huge. That's what the good people at Forrester and Accenture say. So, 72% of businesses regard customer experiences as their very top priority. 68% of customers who switch brands will simply never go back. $1.6 trillion is the estimated annual loss due to poor customer service. I don't know how you calculate a number like that, but let's just say it's half. It's still a really big number. And in the same report by Accenture, they found that of all the executives they spoke to, 85% of them said, yes, we plan to make extensive AI investments in the next 3 years. So this is a huge potential, and I think Jed has highlighted that in many ways, e-commerce is only just on the starting blocks in terms of what you could potentially achieve here. So the next question then I posed was, well, how is AI shaping the customer experience today? And I'm going to focus on just briefly various ways that we're all already aware of. So there's of course the recommender engine, which everyone's aware of. Okay, we all use recommenders now. People who bought this also bought that. These recommenders are getting more and more sophisticated. You have these leading technology companies like Spotify, YouTube, and so on, who are doing and investing a lot, and they're really leading the way and showing what's possible with the recommender. And then you've got other companies out there who don't specialise in technology, leveraging things like IBM Watson to build their own recommendation engines and personalisation, going beyond recommendations into personalisation. And then you've got a bunch of funky startups, people like the guys on the panel here, who've got a lot to say and a lot to offer in this area. We had an interesting discussion just before this session where we sort of debated a little bit the merits of IBM Watson. Some people are fans, some people aren't, for example. The other way in which we're seeing AI really, changing the customer experience right now is in the whole area of the chatbots and the AI-assisted customer service. Digital Genius, the San Francisco-based company, doing some great things. A good case study with KLM. You've got a situation there where it's been trained on thousands of questions and answers. KLM, customer service agents, use the system to help respond to queries that come in, whether they're private queries or sometimes on social media, and then they might modify the response as suggested by the AI engine. The AI engine then learns from the modified response, and so you get this continually improving assisted kind of interaction with the customer. eBay doing something different there, where you're just directly talking to a robot, and of course I haven't mentioned the things we all know about Alexa's Echo, Siri, and Google Voice, which we're all using, right, with mixed success, I would say. And I think that's a good point, actually, which is that, the people like KLM, where the customer service really matters, it's currently about the AI augmenting what is still a human interaction with the end customer. But what we're seeing is the emergence of increasing complexity, increasing refinement, increasing quality from the AI engines. All right? But the other way in which AI is changing the customer experience is really behind the scenes in how customers are analysing and understanding their customers, and something which I think myself and most of the panellists share is interested in data analytics and insights. So this is yet another study. Kantar, they did the study, and they looked at businesses that were high performing in terms of revenue growth, and perhaps unsurprisingly, they find that businesses that use data-driven insights to customise their offers, they're in the higher growth category. Those who use insights and analytics to create consistent experiences are in the higher performing category. How does AI help improve insight? This is Gartner's analytics, I can't remember what they call it, analytics projection. It's been around actually only since 2015. It feels like ancient history. It's still quite correct, I think, in terms of describing the value chain in analytics. And as you move from your more descriptive stuff, and so many of us are still just, let's create a dashboard. We don't know quite why we're creating a dashboard, but let's just have a dashboard. Right, as you move beyond your dashboards onto something which is a little bit more intelligent and starts to try to forecast what's going to happen next, or in a prescriptive case, flip the model on its head and say, well, we know now how our X's drive our Y. Let's ask us what X's we need to change in order to get more Y. Right? Let's do the prescriptive piece. This is where machine learning can really help improve the quality of those predictions and drive smarter decision making. So how does AI help optimize customer journey insight? So one of the things that we do is we look at the customer journey interaction and we use that to try and predict positive outcomes. So if you think about a customer journey like this, we have people who are obviously open to influence, and this is a marketing journey up until the point of purchase. You're trying to influence them with branding at this end. You're then trying to make sure that you're present on all those affiliate and searches and various ways in which people are interacting with you. They choose, they purchase, and then there's this crucial customer experience post-purchase of the usage, the experiences, the service, the post-purchase service that you receive, and ultimately you're aiming for loyalty. The principle that we try and apply is say, okay, we can measure these touch points. We know what's a positive outcome for the business and for the customer, so let's use the measurement of those touch points to predict that positive outcome, and then we can use that for our prescriptive and predictive analytics, right? So we can optimize that journey and grow ROI for the business. So case study now with quite a complicated case, which is LexisNexis. So the reason I've chosen LexisNexis and not an e-commerce case is because it's an example which I'm quite fond of, because first we don't want to work with them and we like them as a client, but secondly they've got a very complex legal product. Just ignore this bit for a minute, I'll explain it. This is a legal research platform, Lexis Advance. It's widely used by lawyers, and it's not just a search engine for lawyers. It's got a whole bunch of complex functionality around figuring out prior precedents and making sure that you've looked at all the right case law in relation to the case and then find relevant cases. There are different categories of content, there's different kinds of advice you can get from the platform. So it's not clear when people use the platform what is a good customer experience versus a bad customer experience. And when you look at the Net Promoter Score, I think people know what this is Bain came out with it in 2003. It's like promoters and detractors, would you recommend versus would you not recommend, right? They came up with this score. When you look at this score, what you find is that actually, although increasing usage of the platform is associated with higher NPS, there comes a point when actually what the increased usage represents is friction, the thing that Jed was talking about. More usage is not necessarily a good thing. If your customers are interacting with you more, that doesn't necessarily mean they're having a good time in terms of their customer experience. Quite possibly, they're having to expend a lot of effort to get what they want from you. So that's what this shows us. So what we did, we had a little survey of our own. One of the problems we had with NPS is it only looks at the overall relationship you have with Lexus as a brand. It doesn't really look at the Lexus product as such. And we still don't understand what behaviour in the product means. We wanted to key it down to the actual interactions. So we asked people some simple questions about whether they were successful. If you can't read this, it just says, you've just used Lexus Advance, how successful were you? Right? And you can just say whether you were successful or not. You, as the customer, as the user, define your success. We collect a whole bunch of interaction data around how you're using the platform, and then we use that data to predict the success. Okay? And then we can understand what kinds of usage behaviour mean success versus don't mean success. And the way this is being used is, for Lexus, it's a KPI. They now track and target. They're rolling it out across a load of their other platforms. They have lots of platforms. They can use that for A/B testing. They can A/B test on this metric because, of course, they can now predict every session. They don't need to survey every user. Having surveyed enough, if another user comes along and behaves in a certain way, they can predict whether that session was successful or not. They can use it to prioritise their product development, and they can use it to make predictions about how the business is going to grow and improve customer success. So that's my little case study. Just to round off then, the big question, what is the future of AI in the customer experience? I actually think Jed did a better job than I could do on painting what that future might look like, certainly for e-commerce. I think the only thing to say here, and I couldn't resist these little pictures, is that the future's already here. The technologies are already there. It's just a case of utilising them. Probably the robot putting a shoe on someone there, but this is an actual robot assistant. What Accenture's saying, that report I mentioned earlier, artificial intelligence will be the new user interface. 89% of businesses will compete primarily on customer experience. Say Forrester, 85% of customers will manage their relationships without interacting with a human at all. So AI is the future of the customer experience, is how I would put it. Maybe that's overstating it a little bit, but it's only a matter of time. So that's my presentation. I hope that was interesting for you. And please do come and chat to me afterwards if you want to know more about Metageni and who we are and how we might be able to help you. If you're interested in working with us, that would be great as well. And I look forward to the panel discussion.
Fantastic.